Hello everybody, welcome to another day, another challenge. Let's see what we're gonna grab today. Nature. Nature. It's a good one. I've been doing a lot of nature stuff lately, so let me gather some supplies and see what we can come up with today. All right, guys, so I was thinking, of course, nature, my first thoughts were, go get some leaves and sticks and glue that stuff down. But gluing down leaves and stuff, it's not going to stay in the journal. So I thought about making my own leaves. So I have some watercolor that I got from the dollar store. It's pretty thin, but at least it'll lay flat in the journal. And I have some tissue paper, and this is like old school drawing newsprint paper. So I thought I would try and do kind of an abstract painting with some leaves, and I'm not really sure exactly where I'm going to go with it, but those are my thoughts so far. I'm going to try and see what I can do on this watercolor sheet. And I guess I could just take the book away for now. And we can use this one, this big stick. Make sure you're still in focus there. Okay. So basically, I got my watercolors out and some of my inks. I kind of wanted to do some more abstract leaves, so I thought what I'd do first, since it's fall, October, I would just put some water down and kind of see just general shape of leaves maybe. I don't know, I can't really see what I'm doing here, but we'll see what happens. All experimenting, you never know, obviously. So how are you guys today? What's new with you? I think I'm gonna start, we'll just go with, this is yellow cadmium. And we'll just put some color down. Just gonna do it this way and just see where the color went with the wet. We'll just do that. See if we can get kind of a leaf pattern here. Paint it very loosely or something. And then we can get another color of yellow. And this one is Cerulean, I think. I don't know that I pronounced that right. Let's see where this one, try to make a, there we go. We'll try some cadmium orange. Okay, and then on this one we can go with some reds, orangey reds. So we've got cadmium scarlet we could try. I think I'm just gonna see if we can do a leaf shape of some sort. I know there's all different types of leaf shapes, so, and again, I wanted this to kind of be abstract. Well, not kinda, I do want it to be abstract. Cadmium red, let's go for some green too. So sap green. Maybe we can do a little kind of one of those leaves. Do another one over here. Okay, maybe do another one. Okay, we'll do, this one is Viridian. Because we can layer, once we get kind of like a base color, my thoughts were we'll just layer, do some layering, get the shape of the leaf-ish. I don't know, I think it's just because the leaves are falling, you know, autumn. So that's my nature. I was looking, I did have a magazine that had birds, you know, but I couldn't find it. So I just stick with this. Do another, this one's sap green. And we should probably do maybe another orange. And we may not use all of these, so I'll do cadmium orange again. And kind of fill that spot there. Trying to do a oak leaf. Oh, how does that? Yeah, okay. Doesn't really look like an oak leaf. Oh well. Again, abstract. Okay. I'm gonna lift up some of that water there. We could even, I suppose, with the dry paintbrush, we could soak up some and do some veins a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. I should probably turn my phone off when I do these videos. I don't think that's the greatest brush to use. I don't know. There we go. Okay. Then, like I said, we'll work on the background a little bit. Or, you know what? No, let's do that on this one. Let's see what we can achieve on tissue paper. Get these kind of set over here. Please use tissue paper. Let me get the tape off. Okay, let's do the same thing. Has anybody ever watercolored on tissue paper? I have never watercolored on tissue paper. This will be interesting. Let's see what we can get. At least more practice with the leaves anyway. Okay, there's another green that I like. Let's do some greenish yellow. I don't think I've used any of this watercolor color yet. Trying to think again. Shape of leaves. I suppose I could get on my phone and look some up, but nah. We're just going to go with it. All right, so do you guys want to hear part 2 of how I met my husband? So we left off yesterday with the Facebook post about a movie I'd watched, which was My Sister's Keeper. And so basically for a few months after that, we corresponded probably a lot more frequently because we kind of like reached a little bit of common ground, like a relatable experience through loss. And so we talked a lot more after that, pretty much daily after that. I don't really remember the time frame on this particular conversation because I remember it very well. Kind of the conversation that was the pivotal point of our relationship, or where the relationship was going to go. So one day we were just chatting around, and I didn't really want to come out and ask, like, hey, have you ever thought about coming to America? Because I figured he would have said so if that was something he was interested in. And I didn't want to be like, oh, you should come to America, even though I, thought, oh, you really should come to America. But he had mentioned that he always wanted to go to Italy, and he thought about moving to Italy. And I'm like, really? That's interesting. Like in the country or in the town? Of course, he's a country farm boy, so he goes, no, of course, in the country. And I said, well, I guess you're just going to have to find yourself a nice Italian wife or something. Kidding, but not, but I was kind of fishing. I was just, by that time we had already we're getting to know each other and stuff. So, and I said, so yeah, are you like, wouldn't that be kind of funny? I said, they're very strong and opinionated people, and you seem pretty opinionated yourself, being Irish. I don't really remember exactly the conversation. And so he wrote back, he goes, no. I'm actually looking for somebody a lot like yourself. And oh, did I blush? And I was very excited because by that time I had already looked at his profile and saw a picture of him, and, was really, exploring his Facebook page and stuff. So, oh, I was like, wow, that's so cool. I blushed. And then I wrote back. I don't even remember what I wrote back exactly. I think it was something like, oh, wow, you're so sweet. Really? I don't know. I don't really know. But it was radio silence for like 15 minutes. Like I had responded, but I didn't hear back from him. And I was like, uh-oh. So later on, years later, Robert and I had this conversation about that moment. And he said, because at that time, he owned his own music store. And he said after he hit send on that message, he had to go outside because he felt really embarrassed. And he thought maybe he was being too forward. And so he had to go sit outside and just put his hand on his head and go, oh my God, what did I just write? Can't believe I just did that. So after he came back and got back online, he messaged me and said, oh, I'm really sorry. He goes, I hope that didn't offend you. And I said, no, this is great, because from what I know so far, I really like you. Let's get to know each other better. So then we just started Skyping. So that was, when Skype was really big, popular. So we would Skype each other a lot. And he would be at his music shop and, waiting on customers and fixing guitars and stuff. And he, it was on the computer. So I could see him working away and we'd chat while he was at work and um, stuff. So we made a commitment to talk every day and basically just got to know each other really good. Um, I he goes, I just want to make sure that I'm not some creepy guy, that's trying to take advantage of somebody like yourself. I go, no, 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 it's okay. So when he got home, because his daughter had lived with him, Alex, still at the time, and so he got her to get online and say hi, and kind of like, this is my house, and I'm trying to be a good guy and let you know I'm not a weirdo, and so that was really really cool. And so I got to talk to his daughter, and I really got to know him and his place, and that's the nice thing with technology is that you can um, kind of feel a person out for the most part. Sure, there's creepers out there on the internet and all, but so eventually we decided that he was going to come to America December 2010. So I was really excited because at the time I had like an apartment that was literally like in a hallway, like literally it was one long rectangle. I was like, this is great. You can come stay and sit on my couch and sleep on my couch if you want. And, trying to be pretty, no pressure, right? Because we always told ourselves when we met, sometimes you got to meet a person and you got to meet somebody in real life to see if there's a connection. And we told ourselves, both of us, that, hey, if there's no physical connection, then, let's still be friends. So that option there was, of course, to, no worries. We're not going to put any pressure on it. So that time came and I picked him up at the airport. That winter of 2010 was in Philadelphia airport where I picked him up was, oh my gosh, it was a heavy, heavy, heavy storm. And I took a taxi because I didn't have a car at the time. And I'm glad I thought about leaving early. But anyway, I get to the airport and his plane is late, of course. And we were both super, super nervous, as you can imagine. But literally, once he got off the airplane and we saw each other, it was just love at first sight. And, honestly, the rest is history. We went to New York City on January 1st, 2011, and got a hotel in Brooklyn and explored New York, and we explored Philadelphia. It was nice. He took 2 weeks, and that was just probably such a wonderful time. But anyway, that really is the crux of the story. If you guys are interested about my life in Ireland, as I lived in Northern Ireland for a year and a half, I would welcome the opportunity to talk about it if you wish. It was a wonderful experience, and do I wish I stayed there? Yes. But there's a big reason why I didn't. So if you're interested, comment below. All right. So that's the story. And then, yeah, so we basically got to know each other. I visited Ireland. We decided he wanted to come here. He immigrated. And so he is a U.S. resident since 2013. Actually, December 19th, 2013. So anyway, here are the leaf prints. I'm going to cut them out, but what I was thinking is I wanted to paint. I'm not sure how watercolor is going to take on this. It may take some time to build up this background, but I wanted to use some of these graphite paints. I really love Derwent, but let me check and see how it does on this, on the gesso. So I'm going to do some steel blue and just see. Oh yeah, okay, cool. That looks lovely. Exactly what I was thinking. So I'm just gonna put down some color, some darks, because those leaves, yes, I want to build those up. Whether I need to back them on stiffer paper, I'm not really sure yet, but maybe we can do this as kind of like trees or something, like a dark forest sort of atmosphere in a very abstract way. I'm not sure. Just going with it, as you know. Maybe there'll be a focal point, maybe not, and maybe those leaves will just be, won't work. So that's kind of, okay, so those kind of look like a trees forest. I know I don't have any light in the background, but we're just going to go with it, right? Practice. This is just for fun, right? It's for fun, she said. You'll have fun, they said. Anyway, guys, I hope you are creating and taking the courage and creating whatever it is and realizing that, you know, sometimes it works out and sometimes it just takes a long time to build a page, like especially if you're going to collage. You know, I try to make these videos as entertaining, fast as possible, but you know, on some pieces, if I really wanted to, it might take me days to finish. Like, I've been looking back on a few of them and thinking about what I could have already done differently. So it's been really fun, and the accountability of it has been great for me. And so far, I haven't really dreaded, like, oh gosh, I got to make a video today. And I don't want to ever feel that way, but it's really also to practice making these videos and trying to find my style too, which when we talk about our style, it's going to change because we'll find inspiration and then we'll try different things and then we'll just incorporate those fun things that we learn to do or into our art. So obviously making the same stuff all the time is going to be boring, right? Although I see some artists that do the same thing, which is no big deal. Like, they love it and they're good at it. For me, I guess I am one of those style hoppers. I like to do all kinds of different things. All right, I'm going to let that dry. I am going to cut these out off camera and then I'll show you those results, guys. So I cut out the watercolor blobs and I was just playing around. Found I have a box of feathers, and I got some of that like twine and some buttons. So I was playing around with composition a little bit. I didn't want to get too bogged down by it because, you know, this is supposed to be fun and kind of spontaneous. And then once I'm done with this challenge and I'm going to do more collage art, then I can work at that like one piece for, you know, days or months or weeks or something. So I was thinking something like this. I'm going to glue these buttons on. I'll put some string through there because this isn't going to fit through it. But I also, before I start gluing down, and I'll figure out where these feathers go because I definitely want to use the feathers, but I was thinking to do some sewing, kind of some crazy sewing. Some people, I don't know if you've noted, if you know this technique, but it's called paper lace, where you just sew crazy and then you poke holes in it and it kind of becomes like lace. I didn't want to take it that far. I wanted to do some crazy sewing, ink them up, and then poke some holes in them, outline the holes to kind of make them look like leaves, like the dried leaves with the dark spots on them, on all of these. And then wherever these are, kind of build up a background a little more just behind this. My thoughts were I have some of this paper, but I'm not going to use that. I thought maybe I could do some, or I could do some book paper too. I might do book paper, but I just went through a magazine and got some, you know, just letter, regular print to build up the background a little bit. So those are my thoughts so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to do some stitches on here. And then we're going to ink it up, grunge it up, tear into it a little bit, and then do some black outlines and stuff. I don't know where that's what I have in my head. We'll see if it works. So I'll meet you back here once I get the sewing stuff done. Here is what the leaves, you can tell my sewing machine's old, but it still does the trick. So I just made some random lines. So what I wanted to do next is, I've seen this technique on a few other channels. You basically get your distress ink and your acrylic block and smush it on there, spray some water, and then like dip your papers in. So we can either use this as a background, not as a background, as like to catch the paint, or we could be bold and just do it on here, and whatever paint lands where, it might make for an interesting background. So I'm gonna go for that idea. I'll start out with, don't know, I think that might be too light. Let's just try it and see, because I've never done this before, and so this is a new thing for me. So here's my acrylic block. I think you do that. Put some water on. Let's try it on a, it's subtle. Or I could just do this, couldn't I? Or was that gonna ruin my ink pad? Okay, let's not. I'm not sure. I don't want to ruin. Or we could just, instead of doing that, let's just use this. Let's do it on this color and just kind of go like that on it instead. And then spray some water. Because I'm wondering, yeah, see how that works on that one. So I'm just going to go and play around with the colors here. Probably should cut those strings. I'll show you what I'm going to do. As you can tell, my sewing machine, I don't know, it's an old one, so I don't really care if it's not sewing perfectly, because at least I get to do this part. I get to sew on paper for now until I can get another. My goal is to get a brand new sewing machine, but that won't be sometime next year, which is fine. I really want to get, did I say this already on my videos? I'm sorry if I did. I want to get a jelly plate and start doing my own papers, painty papers. That I want to get before I get the sewing machine, so. Okay, gonna just leave that one. I'm gonna spray some water, see what happens on some of these. I know I didn't. My thoughts are, again, like I said before, is to kind of grunge these up. So I didn't put any water on this one, so let's go with walnut stain. And we can pretend, well, this is probably not a walnut leaf, but see what happens there and on this one. And yes, I realize if you guys don't have these, you can use watercolor, and that's what I used to do before I got the little distress ink packs. I don't know, I kind of like the fact that it does the grunge pretty good. I was getting pretty good at doing grunge with my watercolors and alcohol markers. So, and I'm sure most of you guys know this, that you don't have to have the latest and greatest art supplies to make good art. Half the fun is just using what you have, and at the end of it all say, hey, I used all of that, and now I need to get some more, or I need to get something different. Well, that's what I tell myself, at least when I can't buy art supplies, and it works pretty good so far. Okay, I'm wondering, I'm gonna try, I really like the walnut stain for this process. So instead of sitting here boring you to death, I'm going to work on these leaves. But you get the idea of what I'm doing, just trying to build up some grunge on these leaves, some depth, and letting this color shine through. Kind of like an underpainting in a painting, and then you just paint over it and your underpainting comes through a little bit in bits and pieces. It's kind of what I was going for there. So I'm going to work on this a little longer and then bring you back and show you what the next steps are going to be with this leaf process. So I took my own advice and I used some watercolor. I used Indian Red and Burnt Sienna and went over some of these. This is my favorite one. I think this one looks so natural, I'm not even going to touch it. So they're still drying. I rubbed some more distress ink on top and then thought, let's get into some watercolors. So I'm just going to show you what I did. Let me do this more brown. I just kind of put some opacity on it and then took my wet brush and kind of evened it out a little bit. And I'm going to use some of this red here in different spots. So it turned out pretty cool. Somewhat natural. I suppose you could look at them and go, yeah, those are probably leaves just based on the color and some of the shape. So that's what I was looking for. Okay, while those are drying, I did go like this on the back pages and decided I didn't really like that so much. So I'm thinking I hope, yeah, it comes off pretty good, which is great if it doesn't all come out. So I was going to accentuate more of the background trees because I liked how this turned out. And try not to mess up what I have in my head. So I'm going to get my Derwent paints back out. And I believe I was using the steel blue. And see if I can define a little bit more of the trees. Just for some dramatic I suppose is what I'm going for. I don't really know. I just thought it looked cool, honestly. Okay, then I'm thinking let's try some yellow, like this meadow. I don't know if it's gonna, yeah. See if we can bring some light in the background here. Like autumn light in the forest. Sorry, my dog's just settled down, of course. And now they're snoring again. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry, do this side. And then once these have dried more, I am going to tear these up a little bit, and then draw some circles like, you know, the spots that you find on dried leaves. And then maybe work on the background a little more. And then put these leaves down. So I'm going to work on this side. And hopefully by that time, those are more dry. Well, I can use my heat tool on them too, so I'll probably do that. Kind of get some of this off here. All right. So I'm gonna do this side just like that side. All right, I tried to add a little darker. It's actually called autumn brown down here, but I need to wait for it to dry a little bit more. I want to do kind of a border too. So yes, Laura Ingalls Wilder, on the banks of Plum Creek. This book is so old that like literally it tears so easy. So I don't know. It's just so the book is so fragile that like you could bend it. Something like that. We'll play around with it. But in the meantime, I wanted to darken these up a little bit. Let me just do a few scraps. And I wanted to use the autumn brown. I love this scraggly, it's a sumi brush, but I'm not using it in the way it probably should be with Japanese writing. But I love how scraggly it kind of just paints. So I was going to build some color here. All right, so I think I like this arrangement so far. Let me just show you what I did with the leaves. I just crinkled them up. That's that kind of like dollar store watercolor paper, which actually it sews really good and it crinkles really nice. So, and then I took my pokey tool and I kind of just poked some holes and tore bits of it. I was gonna try and like, I don't know, distress the edges a little more, but I'm like, no, I kind of like it just like this. So the last thing I wanted to do with these leaves is get a pen of some sort. I'll use and then I just kind of wanted to go around the circles, kind of like just around I guess my torn circles really, to kind of, I don't know, let me show you, like that. Okay, so I glued some feathers down, the burlap yarn, and some buttons. So I was thinking, so that's going to be cool. It's coming off the page there. Everything looks pretty okay. I'm going to do my little black marker. Is that black? It is black. I have a dark brown that I usually use to help with my distressing. Chestnut brown. I was going to kind of do this with it. To make it darker. Oops. Okay, the other thing I wanted to do is lightly stamp something. With black ink, or yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it needs some more darker in the back to make the light pop, but that's definitely something I can do later. But I don't know, guys. What do y'all think? I don't hate it. It's kind of cool. I kind of enjoyed some of the techniques here. Oh yeah, I gotta put my sentiments. So that's probably something I might do after I'm all done with this challenge, is go back to some of these and rework or add to. these pages, and if that's something you would like to see as well, I can do videos on that. That's what I was going to do too, these markers. Because sometimes I don't think all of these pieces are done, but that's the nice thing about art is you can just come back to it, right? After the inspiration has hit and you need to walk away from it for a while. And then you might find another collage medium or something to add to it later. And yeah, that's what I like about this journal is it's all going to be here. So this will probably be a piece I will definitely come back to. But for now, we will leave it like this and add our sentiment. And this concludes our nature prompt. It was kind of a challenging one at first. I had to go on Pinterest and look around for some ideas. I don't know. And even then it was like a lot of the ideas were kind of like, oh, it's been done before. That's been done. I wanted to do something kind of different that you could still get the idea that this is a nature collage. Mixed media. Sorry, it's later in the day than usual from when I video. So you get to see the shadow of my window and the curtains there. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Tell me what you think if you like in the comments below. And remember, guys, wherever you are, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.